Hello everybody and welcome to Freaking Effects, where I'm gonna show you today how I created my latest video that is a remix for the new Terminator movie trailer. That, in case you don't know it, the guys from Adobe are making a contest for making your own trailer for this new movie, and I made one, so I'm gonna show it to you right now in case you haven't seen it yet.
They call him T-800.
When this is all over, I am going to kill you.
I understand.
August 29, 1997 was supposed to be Judgment Day.
He comes back to action.
I'm going to help you protect the girl.
One last time. To terminate. With the help of a half a human, half a cyborg. To save the world once and for all.
Talk fast.
Terminator Dark Fate.
Alright, so that was it. I think it was pretty nice. I think it's looking cool. Now I'm gonna show you some secrets on how I created this trailer. First of all, you have to download the assets that they give you in their website for making this trailer, and they give you the same montage as you can see in the original trailer. The only thing, they give you exactly the same shots with the cats that you can see in the trailer. It starts right here and it ends up right there, and there's nothing else. So this is what you got once you open the project, the montage with the voices, only the voices, no sound effects, no music, nothing at all. So the very first thing that I made when I saw this was leveling every single clip. Was leveling, for example, in blue, this scene when they are in this room, then this in town when they are in the house of the T-800, later when this guy is beating everyone's ass on this military base, I put it on brown, and that's it, so that I can more clearly see in the timeline where is every scene taking place. After doing that, well, yeah, I don't know if you're able to see that I also changed the format, because the original format was at 1080p at 16:9, but I changed it to the CinemaScope so that, I don't know, it's more cinematic and more realistic. Also, it avoids problems on reproducing in certain devices and so. And the next thing that I did when I already had everything labeled was making the montage, because the original montage was 2 minutes 30 and it couldn't be longer than 1 minute. So I first made a very basic montage of 1 minute, and of course you couldn't have the same shots that they made in here, so I came up with the idea that maybe it could start with this scene, and I also added these subtitles because I already had in mind that I was gonna put this grindhouse filter, and I wanted it with a narrator, so every time there's the narrator voice, I put the text so that I can make myself more clear an idea of what is going to happen. Now, after having all of that clear, the montage and so on, seeing that, yes, that it works like this and it tells you more or less the story without spoiling too much, I started with the music. Why, first of all, the music? Well, I personally consider that a trailer should be kind of like a video clip. Like, you should cut the shots of a trailer in basis of the music. Because if the music doesn't make sense, I don't know, I personally think it loses too much. It's different in a movie, because in a movie you make the music with an orchestra and so according to the shots, but in the trailer it's not like that. And I think like this looks nice.
They call him T-800.
When this is all over, I am going to kill you.
I understand.
So there I already added the voice of the narration. That, by the way, his name is Chuck Fresh. You can check him out on Facebook. He's a really, really, really awesome guy, and also on Fever. Now I'm gonna show you, after having cleared more or less the music, I started with the audio. I started with all what comes to be the audio effects. All what comes to be the, explosions, gunshots, and so.
They call him T-800.
And this is
So there are a couple of things going on here. First of all, I decided that because this was going to be like a grindhouse B movie, on almost every single B movie that I've seen that they're robots, they always add these mechanical sound effects, and so I decided that maybe every time there was the T-800 or whatever robot on screen, there should be sound effects of mechanical parts, and so.
They call him T-800.
Also, another thing that I made was adding this eagle sound effect, because it adds strength to the, to the appearance. Listen.
They call him T-800.
That's okay, but if we add this eagle sound effect just at the time that he appears, it gives more strength to his presence. It gives the impression like it's someone important.
They call him T-800.
and this is all.
I don't know, I like it like that. Also, another thing that I checked was that, first of all, what I had in mind when I made the music montage was basically this.
Terminator, Dark Fate.
That this guy would come to the camera and there was going to be a zoop sound effect or something like that, and then cut to the title. But then I thought, I'm going to make a B-movie trailer, so I thought maybe it would be more interesting to just freeze the frame and add on top of that the title screen with silent, with no music or anything, just a narrator.
Terminator, Dark Fate.
And these are the kind of things that you realize when you are trying one thing and another, and I think it's way better than this, because also I was wondering how was I going to put this music over here, because it can't have this cut, this rough cut that has right here.
Terminator, Dark.
Because it's, I don't know, I don't like it, and I should put some sound effects on top of that, so I think that just keeping it silent looks way better.
Terminator.
Now, once I finished with the audio design and everything, I started with what comes to be the filter, like putting an image filter, because as you can see, it's pretty different. I'm gonna take the same shot. If you look over here and over here, it's way different. It's supposed that this shot, I mean, every single shot already is color corrected and everything, but I don't know, was kind of gray to me, like the first Marvel movies, and I didn't like it, so I decided that it was better to add some adjustments to it. What I did basically was taking the whole composition and taking it to After Effects. And from here I have a composition where I have all the shots, and before making the color correction, I decided to add some subtle effects because I saw proper. For example, in this shot where the girl is taking this gun, I made this laser because initially it wasn't there, but I decided to add it because, I mean, she's learning how to use a gun, and I don't know, I thought it was better for storytelling, and so putting a laser so that, she's learning how to do this kind of stuff. And also when this bad guy appears, I added these red eyes because that's another thing from every single B-movie robot, especially if he's a bad robot, that he has red eyes. I mean the Terminator, the robot face already has red eyes, but I don't know, if I put it with these flares and so, it gave you like 100% of a clue that he's one of the bad guys. For storytelling on the B-movie and so, I think, I don't know, it added something to the story and so. Then we go to with a cinematic look, that what I did basically was adding first of all this lumetri color, where as you can see I added some sharpen effect, also more saturation, more contrast, and also I added some glow to it because I personally love how glow changes the image once you add it. For example, here it almost looks like it has more color, like it's, I don't know, something that you're watching being projected, and I think it's looking really cool. Also, in this same layer, in this same composition, sorry, I started working on the titles. I used this blank grindhouse background. There's really typical B movies, and then I added on top the logos, the original logos that appear on the movie, and of course I added my personal logo, which is really cool. You can deny it. And also I added at the end this Terminator Dark Fate. And here's a little joke that I decided that will fit really nicely, and is that this is supposed to be the sixth Terminator movie, but because from the third film onwards on the Terminator saga, almost everyone hated them. James Cameron already said that this is going to be like a reboot from the third movie onwards, and he's going to ignore completely all the other movies. So I thought that it was funny, I don't know, that very quickly appeared Terminator 6 and then a rough cut to no, Terminator 3. Like the title was changed while the movie was already being produced, and I don't know, kind of like what Tarantino did in the Death Proof movie. Also at the end I make a quick design for the the end credits and from there we can move onwards to the final composition, which is this one. And basically you can see that this one is pretty clear, and I already added some grain to it. I use one single layer, this one, and I really love how the grain is added and how it looks way more organic. And something also that I added was some wiggle to the image, because a thing that I see very commonly when someone is attempting to do a Super 8 or a 35 millimeters filter is that they use some nice filters, some nice overlays, but the image stays static, and you don't want that. You want the image to have some wiggle. So I took the composition and added some wiggle to it with expressions, by alt clicking on position, and I added this value over here, and it has some wiggle. It isn't just a static image, but the movie is like wiggling like this the whole time, and that really sells the effect. Another thing that I did also here, you can see that there are a lot of cuts, and that's because I did a lot of effects, like the image is being distorted or whatever. For example, here at the beginning when he appears, I started wiggling the image like this, so as to give some kind of tension to his presence. Also over here, for example, you can see the cut to the titles. You can see. And I mean, those are some details that almost no one is going to notice until I show you like this frame by frame, but I think that really sells the effect even more. And I don't know, it looks really nice by using overlays that I was finding in the internet. And so probably the worst effect, well, one of the worst effects, well, first of all, this one where the image is really screwing up. You can see over here that the image starts distorting, starts burning, and from there it jumps to here. There's a lot of exposure in that. And the most interesting effect was definitely on the end over here, when this frame freezes and the image burns like this. It's not, if you watch it from a frame like this, is a little bit fake, but that's what happens when you do it digitally. For doing this, what I did first of all was choosing where was going to happen, and straight where it happened, from there onwards I freeze the frame, just like that. And then I added the burn effect, and it's way easier making this than you think. It's basically taking a nice effect, a nice burning effect like this one, and then making a matte like this one that I have over here. I just duplicated it, put it a threshold effect, just like that, and I converted it into a matte for this layer over here, so that when the image appears, it dissolves just like that. And then with some overlays of fire and so, and some other very subtle effects, it really looks very nice. I mean, for a digital achievement, I think it's one of the best results that you can get. And well, after making this, what I did was just taking the whole composition and exporting it into a ProRes. And I went back to Premiere, I imported the ProRes right here, so you can see. And then I started with my last and favorite part, which is putting the filters, because I just love this part, which is just taking all the single filters that I have and put them overlay. I added here this coming attractions footage.
They call him T-800.
And what I did basically was making like a selection of my best 35mm footages and decided where to put which footage, which is basically, for example, this one that is a really subtle one. Well, not too subtle actually, but in quiet scenes like this, just a very subtle effect. Over here, for example, that there are explosions and there's a car chase, and so there's way more dirt in the image. So you can see.
97 was supposed to be Judgment Day.
He comes back to action.
So here, for example, although this scene is a quiet scene, but tension, it's what we want to build. So for making that, I started to add some moderate effects on dirt on top, like this green line, and so that it tells you, hey, dirt is appearing on screen, that's because something big is going to happen. And from there we jump to this very messed footage when this car crashes with the other vehicle. The image shakes like this. And also over here, when every time there's a explosion or something big, I always try to make some shake so that it gives the impression that the footage is affecting the camera or the reel or whatever.
One last time. To terminate.
Just like that. I also added a couple of cue marks because I think they're pretty nice. And at the very end,
Terminator, Dark Fate.
as you can see, I added some 35mm projector sounds because they weren't in the original audio mix that I made. It was just like this.
Terminator, Dark Fate.
And by adding these real effects, it tells you even more the fact that you're watching a cinema reel.
Terminator, Dark Fate.
I also did some things like, for example, every time there's a cut from one scene to another, there's this horizontal line that appears. For example, over here also, as you can see here, for example, there are two, then a shaked frame, and then the normal frame. And these are the kind of details, that it takes you a lot of time, but the more time that you invert in it, the best is going to look at the end. So that was basically it. I hope that you like my entry for this contest, and I really hope that you also are entering something, because in case you don't know it, you can win up to $10,000, which is, a lot. So thank you very much for your time. I hope that you give a like to this video if you find it helpful, that you subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet, and really hope to see you in my next tutorial. So see ya!